You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers about hikers for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we unwind, relax, and delve into all things hammock related. Join us as we swing into the world of hammocks, exploring tips and tricks for setting up that perfect hang, sharing stories of outdoor adventures, and discovering the latest trends in hammock camping and relaxation. Whether you're a seasoned hammocker or new to the art of hanging, this podcast is your cozy corner to kick back, escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and soak in the soothing atmosphere of the hammock culture. Prepare to be inspired, educated, and entertained as we embrace the hammock lifestyle together. So grab your favorite hammock, find that perfect spot to hang, and let's embark on a hammock-filled journey that will leave you feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to take on the world. This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where every episode is a breath of fresh air. Let's get started. All right, everybody, welcome back. And as promised, we are now on to part 2 of the Pheonix Family Vacation 2024.
All right,
so what is up, AJ?
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. Long time no hear.
I know, right? It's been forever. You're a busy man. You're working hard. You're working hard for that money.
Yeah. Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
Yeah. All those singles. All those singles. Oh Lord. All right, everybody.
All them pennies.
Yeah, I know, right? Hashtag Florida teacher problems. The struggle is real. All right, just kind of reiterate, kind of catch everybody back up. Last week, or last episode, we talked about the first half of my trip, which started in Ball Ground, Georgia. And we went from there to Claytor Lake near Pulaski, Virginia. Our next stop was Pennsylvania around Hershey at a KOA. But our first major stop was at Emerald Lake State Park in Vermont, followed by Brewster River State Park, or Brewster River Campground, around the Smuggler's Notch area near the Vermont Long Trail, which almost killed me, and Stowe, Vermont as well. So our next major stop, which was supposed to be the pinnacle, like the highlight, or one of the major highlights of the trip, was Franconia Notch State Park in New Hampshire, and we are staying at the Lafayette Place Campground, which is right at the trailhead for the Franconia Notch Loop, which is a loop that goes up the Running Waters Trail to Franconia Ridge, I guess it's the Ridge Loop Trail. Runs across the Little Haystack, Lafayette, and Mount Lincoln.
Maybe.
I think it's Little Haystack, Mount Lincoln, and Lafayette, and then it would cross over to the Franconia Hut. There's a hut there.
Which one of the huts?
Well, the only one on the ridge, but one of the AT huts, and then down the Bridle Pass, back down to kind of the beginning of the campground.
Still trying to think which hut it would have been.
I would say the Franconia one, but I can look it up here real quick. But
Lakes of the Cloud,
friends,
Mizpah.
I'll have to see.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the weather was not conducive to us being able to do this loop. I was super bummed because I had really looked forward to hiking this particular loop. I knew it was going to be a trail that was going to be very difficult, but I was looking forward to that challenge. I was really looking forward to the views and hiking to kind of the peaks and kind of getting a little bit of what my wife got when she hiked her 14er in Colorado last summer. Just being at that peak and seeing the mountain ranges, I really was. Paul, I was really looking forward to this hike, even though that I knew it was going to be rough. Brutal. And I knew it was going to be a long day, but I mentally prepared for this. And then we hiked that section of the Vermont Long Trail, and it really blew out 3 members of my family, and me included. I was really a lot more done than I thought I was. But not only that, the weather once we left Brewster River got hot, and by hot I mean the hottest it's been in 30 years in this particular section.
Right.
And then the Franconia Ridge Loop, most of it is above tree line. So, yeah, no bueno.
Right.
We talked to the guy at the camp store, and he said he had talked to some of the hikers that had been out on the trail during the day, and he said it would have been an oven. So I know that I would have done it and been miserable and not been able to enjoy it, but I knew that the rest of the family were also supposed to hike this. I can definitely think of 2 of the individuals that would have been hiking that would have possibly convinced me to throw myself off a mountain, just because the groaning and moaning that would have ensued would have been enough to make me question life choices. Even though, so we just decided that it was not going to happen this particular trip. But we chose other adventures, and we chose some really awesome adventures. So next time, Franconia Ridge Loop, I'm going to get you. But it just didn't happen this trip. But one of the places that I will talk about, which was probably one of my favorite places that we went to in the entire trip, was the Flume Gorge in Franconia Notch State Park. Now this place, we had to pay about $70 for the whole family to get into. But the cool thing is Franconia Notch State Park has no cost to go through, because a major highway runs right through the middle of it. So it's kind of hard to kind of charge people with it being a major interstate.
Right.
But so we didn't really mind paying that much, and considering the sights that we saw there, in my opinion, it was totally worth it. And if you go to our Facebook page on our podcast, I had posted some pictures of this place, but it was a really cool hike that you got to see kind of the power of water and just kind of the cool designs that erosion makes happen. There are definitely some things that I go and I see, and I'm just saying, oh, yay, erosion, that other people think, oh, this is really, really cool. Badlands National Park, for example. Cool. It's just erosion. Arches National Park. It's cool. It's cool erosion. Don't get me wrong. It's cool. But it's erosion. However, the Flume Gorge was oh, this is erosion. This is really, really, really cool. It was also really nice because the gorge itself, the Flume Gorge, was probably maybe 10 to 20 degrees cooler than outside of the gorge.
Oh, yeah. Down in the gorge.
Yeah. Because the water going through and the rocks on the side, it was like stepping in an air conditioner. It was really, really nice because outside it was in the mid 90s. It was hot. It was real hot. And we're doing this. I think it's 4 miles round trip to do this whole loop through the park.
Okay.
And there's a few other places along the trail that are kind of cool. We get to see some waterfalls and some covered bridges and some other little outcroppings there. But the Flume Gorge itself was like the main attraction on this hike, and it was super nice on the inside. It was just a really cool geologic formation that I'd never really seen that much before. But it was a really cool hike, and if you're in that area, Franconia Notch State Park, I thoroughly suggest you go to the Flume Gorge. It was possibly one of the coolest places that I was at this entire trip. It was just really, really cool. Another thing that was kind of frustrating, because like I'd said, there's this major interstate that runs right through the middle of the state park. You can't just get out of the campground and go left. You've got to go right and down maybe 5 or 6 miles to an exit that has kind of like this loop, so you can make essentially a U-turn to go up, because we would have to go into the town of Jackson, I believe it was. And we would have to make this kind of essentially 10 miles outside of our way to go down and then around and back up. So we would go into Jackson because that's where we got groceries. There's also where we stopped and got coffee as well, because there wasn't like a nearby coffee place. And there was something else. Oh, my daughter maybe left her earrings in longer than she should have, because she just got them pierced a few years ago. And she got this nasty, really gross, disgusting ear infection from the earrings. So we had to go get medicine and stuff for that. So we also stopped and got coffee then too. And I think some of the days we were just tired of sandwiches. So we went into town to McDonald's and got food there for lunch one day too. But yeah, so if you're going in, just realize that you're gonna the big, long, extended U-turn. It's something that you can't really get over. So this was the next spot that I kind of got near the AT. So again, we're kind of staying with the AT essentially almost this entire trip. But we did go out to a place called Artist Point. So we got to look out over on a lake there, and we got to hike to another little mountain there. It had like a mountain scramble, and it was really cool because we got to see some of the ski slopes that were there from the sides. Significantly smaller than some of the ones out west, but it was really cool. And those had a really good significance for a friend that I get to meet later on in the trip, Chris Duffy, who does the Hang Your Own Hang podcast. Met up with Chris, and he said that, when I saw your pictures, I like, that's where I started skiing. Like, that was his kind of beginning of where he was skiing growing up. So that was really, really
okay.
Cool. We got to see what used to be the Old Man on the Mountain. I guess up until 2003.
When he fell off?
It fell off. Going back per our previous conversation, erosion. But
that's up by another hostel that I stayed at on the trail. Yeah, that's up just before Mount Moose Lock, or around the Mount Moose Lock area.
Okay.
Should have been.
They did a really good job of, at the base of this mountain, they kind of have this, I don't know the best way to describe it, exhibit that if you stand in a certain place, they've got metal kind of pins that if you stand in certain places, they line up to match up where the Old Man on the Mountain would have been.
I gotcha.
that was really cool. I mean, it was just kind of a little thing that you walked out to and you saw it, but
Sure.
it was a nice little walk by the lake. If it hadn't been 800 degrees, it felt like it would have been a lot better. But yeah. So other than it being hot, Franconia Notch State Park was really, really nice. There were plenty of little side trails that you could do there. I want to say there was also a rails trail that kind of ran through a good part of the park as well. I did have to use a stand at this particular location because there wasn't too many trees. And I will say, unfortunately, the entire time that we were out on this trip, every campground that we went to, I would either walk or take my scooter and drive around. And I was really looking for other hammock campers. I was like, gosh, there's got to be one. Yeah, that was a no-go. I never
couldn't find any, huh?
I could not find. I mean, the closest thing that we found was, people setting up these or Amazon lounger hammocks that were poorly set up, and I just kind of wanted to help these people, but I didn't. No other hammock campers, which was sad. But so when we leave Lafayette Place, we see a break in the weather. The temperatures are dropping. However, once we leave Dolly Cop, it starts to rain for the next 40 days and 40 nights. Not really, just the entire time that we're at our next stop, which is Dolly Cop, which is also near the AT. It's near Gorham, New Hampshire, and we drove by Mount Washington, Mount Madison, that are all actually there were numerous trails out of Dolly Cop that went up to Mount Madison. We had kind of talked about driving the road that goes up to the peak of Mount Washington, which was really exciting. However, it rained, and we're not talking like a little rain. Like it rained pretty much all day long. So we could have driven up. We just wouldn't been able to see anything.
Right.
Which was really a bum thing because we had planned so much hiking in that area. So many trails that we just didn't do because we didn't want to twist an ankle, because it being really, really rocky. Wet rocks mean slippery rocks.
Mm-hmm.
So those just didn't happen, which was kind of a bum thing. But we did get to drive two really, really pretty highways. One of the main ones that we had heard about, and a lot of people said to do, was the Kangamungus Highway, which runs from Lincoln to Conway, New Hampshire. Now the Kangamungus was really pretty. Maybe we just didn't go when it wasn't raining, almost constantly. But it was nice. But the views that we saw were like, it's all right. I mean, there was a few little places, but I think overall there was prettier places like on the Blue Ridge Parkway that I would have preferred. We also went another route. It was Highway 302. And that ended up being probably the more prettier driving experience that we got. That drove right by the whites. There were like little patches here and there, and just there in my opinion, I thought there were more views that were more conducive to saying, hey, you really need to drive this road.
Right.
But Highway 302, and I want to say there was another state park that kind of runs through that way as well. But the Kangamungus was really, really nice going into Conway, and Highway 302 was really, really nice as well. We actually went to Conway a couple different times because it was a place that we could go and kind of kill time since it was raining and a lot of our plans got canceled. We would go in and do some shopping. They did have an REI in North Conway that we went to. So we went to a meadery in this area as well, called Sap House. And we've been to a lot of meaderies. Like, we've been to meaderies here in the States. We tried mead over in Denmark, kind of like the birthplace of mead, as far as I know. This meadery was the best that we've tried.
Oh, yeah?
It was really, really good. A lot of their different stuff that they've done, the flavors just kind of integrated really, really well. I liked it so much that I even subscribed to like their yearly releases. Like, they release them like 4 bottles 4 times a year. It was that good that I subscribed to it because it was really, really good mead. Nothing that we had was like, this is all right, or like, not really my thing. But every single one that we tried, and I think cumulatively we tried 8. She tried 4 and I tried 4, and we kind of swapped back and forth, and everything was really, really good. And that was Sap House Meadery. So if you're in that area, check them out, show them some love. They do some good stuff. When we arrived, they were preparing the ingredients for one of their newest releases that I should be receiving next week. They were grilling peaches.
Grilling peaches.
Yeah, they were caramelizing the peaches to use in their mead, and I got really excited. But the one that kind of stuck out, and I actually ended up buying a bottle of this while I was there. It was called the Nom Noms. It was
what was it called?
Nom Nom.
One more time.
Nom Nom. I hate you so much. But it was oatmeal raisin mead, and it was really good. Like, it wasn't overly sweet. The flavors just, it wasn't overly artificial. It just, I don't know. It just hit different.
Get Britt the recipe and he can make it for you.
It tasted significantly different than the mead that Britt made. I will say different. It was really, really good. The mead from Sap House was really, really good. And they've got another couple that I'm getting 4 bottles delivered next week. So I'll let you know how they are. So that they were really good. So yeah, and we went to, I guess, one of the main places in that area was Pinkham Notch.
Oh yeah, Pinkham Notch.
Yeah, so we stopped at there because there was some fall, the Cascade Falls. There was a little goat's path outside of
Pinkham Notch is right down the road from Gorham, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So the Pinkham Notch, right where the Pinkham Notch visitor center is, is pretty much the beginning of the Wildcats.
Okay.
When you're heading north, if you leave the visitor center and cross the road, and you start up the mountain on the AT, that's the Wildcats. And
okay, gotcha.
That is a heck of a climb.
So we hiked out to the Crystal Cascades.
Okay.
That was there. We had planned on hiking another trail on the other side of the road, but we got probably a quarter mile into it, and it was raining, and it became stupid rocky again. Shocker. And we just decided, no, we didn't really want to roll our ankles. So we unfortunately did not make that trail, which was kind of sad, but again,
yeah,
I
hit rain. I hit rain coming into Pinkham Notch because I had left Madison Springs Hut and went into Pinkham Notch. And then I stayed in Gorham for a couple of days. Took a couple of zeros there. Met the where I stayed at, the guy and his wife, Al and Kate, hosted me at their house. Super nice people. I still stay in touch with them on Facebook and everything. But then going up Wildcat, like 2 days after, on top of the ridge, I was in rain again. That was scary because there was lightning popping all over the place, and I'm on top of the ridge.
We actually ended up spending quite a bit of time in Gorham.
Yeah.
We did laundry there, and I would say one of the greatest pieces of gear that we have added to our camping repertoire, especially for the pop-up, is we have a laundry bag. Like, it's a big, heavy canvas bag, but it has like straps, like a backpack.
Right.
Oh, that is a game changer. If you have a family of 4 that does laundry like every week and a half, which is heavy as all get out, it makes life significantly better. We can just throw everything on your back, and you look like a newbie hiker in a Walmart backpack trying to hike the AT with like a 50, 60 pound pack.
Yeah.
But that was really, really nice. One of the places that we stopped in Gorham was, while we were doing laundry, across the street, there was a place called Mr. Pizza.
Okay.
And just kind of like a little local pizza place, but they had some really, really good pizza. I was really glad that we stopped there. So, Mr. Pizza Restaurant and Tavern, thank you for having good pizza, because we hadn't had a good pizza in a while.
Do you remember seeing like a big, like 3-story type house, very beautiful house?
That narrows it down.
Hold on. It should have had a sign out front called Strictly Moose Luxury Vacation Suites.
Yes.
Okay. That's where I stayed. That's where Alan.
So you were right on that main little road. Okay.
Yep. Al and Kate owned that. And they were actually renovating it whenever I was up that way and everything.
Gotcha.
And,
so we went another place that I stopped at in Gorham, actually, maybe twice. There's another brewery there called Big Day Brewing, and they had another really, really good brew. Unfortunately, the sour that I think that I tried there that I really, really liked, they didn't have in like individual cans. They just had like on tap, so I didn't get any extra for that. But they're doing some really good stuff at Big Day Brewing. So if you're in that area, check them out. I really liked the stuff that I tried there. But overall, Dolly Cop was nice too, because we got a pleasant surprise there, because at at Emerald Lake, Brewster River, and Lafayette Place. So the last 3 stops that we're staying 3 days each, we didn't have electricity. So
why?
Because the sites didn't have electricity.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the crux of staying at state parks and things. Like, camping is a lot cheaper, but usually, unless you can snag up a few of the sites that have electricity, then you're stuck. Now, luckily, at night at least, all of the temperatures were comfortable enough. The Lafayette place got a little wishy-washy there, but like, we didn't need the air condition. However, when we got to Dolly Cop, the temperatures were rainy, but also still kind of hot or warmer, especially at night. But luckily, I was able to sweet talk the lady at registration, and I guess also because the rain had made a lot of people cancel, there was a slew of open campsites available that had electricity. So after 9 days of no electricity, we were able to change to a site that had electricity, and it was wonderful. because up until that point, we were relying on whatever charge that our cell phones would get in the truck as we're driving places. Or I think at this point we had used up all the charging bricks that we had charged up at the last place that we had electricity. So we were roughing it, quote unquote, until
you were
we
roughing
got to
it.
Dolly Cop. Yeah, we were roughing it, kind of, sort of, not really, but
you ought to get you that the DJI portable power station to put with you.
We don't need any extra big stuff, but I mean, it really wasn't that bad. However, for my middle schooler and high schooler, it was just like, oh, the world is ending. How are we going to charge things? But no one died. We were fine. But so we leave Dolly Cop, and our next stop is at Smuggler's Den, which is a campground in the southwestern side of Acadia National Park. We do have electricity there, which was nice. All of the official national park campgrounds in Acadia were either all full or were under construction. I think there was one that was closed for construction. So we had to stay on the kind of the outskirts, but we were right on the border of the park, and where we were at, it was nice. It was still on the quieter part of Acadia National Park. It wasn't in kind of the main tussle.
Right.
So we ended up having to drive like 20 minutes or so to get to where we needed to go each day, which was a little annoying, but it was a little okay too, because there was a lot of traffic in some of the major areas. But yeah, that was a learning experience. So growing up, and even to now, I've always wanted to go to Maine. Don't know why. No real reason other than I do really love lobster. But so I got to do this. So the very first day that we get there, we go to this place, and I was like, I want a lobster roll. Oh my goodness, Paul. I thought those Mexican burritos were expensive. Ooh, you get lobster out there at a restaurant. Oh man, you're taking a mortgage on your house.
Really?
Yes. It was all right. So this place that we went to, it was right across the street from the campground.
Uh-huh.
And so I got a lobster roll. For those of you who don't know, a lobster roll is essentially a brioche bun that's in the shape of a hot dog bun, essentially, with a little bit of lobster mixed with mayonnaise. And maybe some other little accoutrements on top of it. It was $30. Just that. So me and my wife share one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a snack. Because
sure was a snack.
It was
nice.
A snack. It was just kind of tiding me over. So I was like, okay, well, that was kind of disappointing. But not to be outdone. At the end of the trip, I went to, I forget the grocery store that's really popular out there. It's not Ingles. I have to think about it here in a second. But I went and got like lobster meat. Now it was still like $40, but I made lobster rolls for everybody, and I think I had 2 extras. So,
right.
Pro tip: if you're going to Maine, do not order lobster rolls from a restaurant.
And that was in Maine.
Yes, like in Bar Harbor,
and it was expensive.
Yes, like stupid expensive.
When I was up there, lobster tail. I mean, you would go into a restaurant, and lobster tail was cheaper than what it is here.
Yeah, no, it was not. It was it was crazy expensive. And again, maybe I'm just a cheapo and not adjusted to inflation yet, but no, I was really shocked at just how expensive it really was. And a lot of the locals that we talked to are like, yeah, we never order lobster at a restaurant. I mean, maybe that was the thing. Maybe if you got maybe people up there, they have like connections
maybe
that they can get, but I did not have said connections. So, but Acadia National Park, it was one of those places that it was really, really pretty. It was very, very different. Like the beaches, I've never been to like a beach where the beach is on a cliff. Like they were out there, like pine trees almost all the way up to the shore. That part was really, really cool. But Acadia is a super popular national park. And that's kind of the thin line that I kind of walk. Like, I tell people like, you really, really, really need to go see some of these national parks. They're really, really cool. But on the flip side of that, there's 8,000 people there, and
right.
It just turns into like Yellowstone. I'm sure it's really, really nice, but it's a 10,000 acre parking lot.
Right.
So if you don't get out into where you want to be by 9:00, you ain't getting there. You're going to end up waiting in a line, and the parking situation is not all that great. The parking lots are not that big, and if you miss your parking lot just because of the way the park is designed, you're end up having to go essentially the entire loop to loop back around, and that loop is not short.
Gotcha.
You're looking at a good little bit, but one of the trails that we had end up thinking about hiking, the Precipice Trail, which we didn't end up doing because they had actually closed that trail because of the peregrine falcon nesting area during that time of the year. So they had that entire trail blocked off. We're kind of bummed about that. But we did get to go down and walk down to Thunder Hole, which was really, really cool. We got to hear it kind of go off a couple of different times. We walked through Bar Harbor a couple of different times, and we were able to go out onto Bar Island, which is an island that is accessible only during low tide. When the tide goes down, it opens up a sandbar that you can actually walk out to and hike around this island that there at one point there was a house, a whole like plantation out there.
That's pretty neat.
There's a little mountain on it too that we hiked up to, which was cool. And we hiked out to a Cadillac Mountain, which was something that we had to pay for the road, but we were able to hike up there and walk around the top there and see a few other little peaks and look down into the valley. And that was really, really cool, being on top of the mountain and being able to see the ocean.
Right.
Just something different, but crazy crowded. Bar Harbor was another cool little town, but the crowds there were significant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was luckily at this particular place, Smuggler's Den, I was able to use trees instead of a stand, so that was nice. There, the rain finally ended about midway through our stay there, which was a very welcome reprieve. For one, we were tired of being wet, and two, it allowed us to get a little bit of hiking in, maybe not to the level that we had originally planned. But the clouds were able to move off so we could see. It was so cloudy and was so foggy, and for a lot of times, and a lot of the really, really pretty things was covered in fog, so you didn't get a good chance to see a lot of them until the last couple of days, which essentially is how Glacier was for us a few years ago. But yeah. So check Maine off my list, and we were good to go. By that point, we were kind of ready to go back. We did have electricity here, no cell phone service, but we had electricity.
Sometimes it's nice not to have cell phone service, though.
It is. I agree.
Sometimes it's really nice not to have all that.
And if you're prepared for it, like beforehand, I downloaded quite a bit of movies and TV. Right. Well, not really movies, but TV shows that I was kind of banging through when I had some downtime. I didn't have to worry about signal, so they were already there.
Well, I know there was a couple of times that I tried to call you and it goes straight to voicemail. I was like, okay, they're nowhere near signal.
Yeah, and I would say for the most part of our trip, that was kind of the case. Like signal was non-existent, and even if it was, you had signal, you didn't really have signal.
Right.
We would call that faux G.
Faux G.
It's like, oh, I've got 2 bars of signal, but your cell phone will not
absolutely nothing.
Squat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep.
Our next and our final major stop, we ended up stopping right outside Shenandoah National Park in Virginia to see one of my best friends from college.
And y'all stopped there on the way back?
Yeah, so we stopped there on the way back. And we stopped at a place outside of there. They're not really big campers. They're more like tent campers that are kind of sort of getting into it. They weren't about. They were very hesitant about camping in Shenandoah with no electricity. Their son has some health issues that requires a blood sugar monitor that is connected to a cell phone, so they were kind of worried about the cell signal there. So they did not join us there, but my in-laws, who were on their way up to New York, they met us there and stayed for a couple days. And I do want to give a shout out to one of our close friends and co-podcast creators, Jester on the Trail. We listened to her podcast a lot going up.
Jester Section Hiker?
Yeah, Jester Section Hiker. I love her podcast. If you're interested in section hiking part of the AT or want some just really great content, check out Jester Section Hiker podcast. Her intro and outro music is very catchy, and it got stuck in our head. But I will say, Jester, you owe me $30. Because
what she owe you $30 for?
Yeah, she totally owes me $30. At least 20. We'll say 24, because we were listening to her podcast and a few episodes back, because we were catching up. We had a lot of driving to do, so we were catching up on a lot. And they were talking about her yo-yo that she has done, and she was about to do it. And she was kind of talking about the planning. And gosh darn it, they started talking about some blackberry milkshakes at Big Meadow.
You're talking about the waysides?
Yeah.
There in Shenandoah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can get them at any of the waysides there.
No, you can only get them at Big Meadow.
Oh, is it only Big Meadow?
Only Big Meadow, but that's where we were staying.
I was thinking it was some of the others too.
We were staying at Big Meadow.
Yeah, okay.
She planted that seed in my kids and my wife's head. So when we get to Shenandoah, no, I couldn't just buy one for me to enjoy. No, because of her podcast, I had to buy 4. And they were like $8 a piece. Yep. And so, Jester, you owe me some money. No, they were stupid good. They were stupid good. They toast Sleevey Wonder up. My tummy did not enjoy them. However, my taste buds did. They were amazing, and I will forego any digestive pain that ensued after having a whole one. But they were really good. So I would suggest, if you were in Shenandoah National Park, go to the Big Meadow Lodge and get a flippin' blackberry milkshake. It will change your life. And I don't even like blackberry. Like, I have a strong core memory of not liking blackberries, because my mom, she had these 3 huge blackberry bushes that she planted when they first moved in the house that I had growing up. Mm-hmm. And I hated those suckers. I hated them because we had to go out there and pick them, because she wasn't going to pick them. She was going to make her kids pick them. So we had to go out and pick them, and she would make blackberry cobbler and stuff like that. But because I had to pick them and I hated it so much, I didn't even like blackberry cobbler. Like, so I'm not a huge blackberry fan at all, just because of that. Man, that milkshake, it hit good. Yeah. I became a believer. But it was still very, very hot. Another trail that we hiked in Shenandoah, we hiked the Dark Hollows to the Dark Hollows Fall. It was a little side trail from our campground, really.
Right.
We crossed the road and then hiked further down, and that's where I coined the particular motto of our trip: the shorter the trail, the stupider the people on it.
That's probably because the shorter the trail, the more people that go onto it.
Yes, we were down in the falls, and it's really cool falls. It's like a tiered falls. They make one, they form like a little pool, and they fall down. They form another one, and they fall down again. It's really, really cool. And I would suggest definitely going to see it. Except some of you that don't know how to behave yourself, you stay off the trail. But there were people there that were climbing off trail, which is something that you don't do for one.
Right.
And they were having like this picnic swim party on one of the top pools at the falls. And I'm just like, if I had a rock right now, which I did, there were rocks all around, but I didn't really want to make the paper this week. So,
again, the first time, and this was up in Virginia, right?
This was up in Virginia.
So it would be the first time ever in the Virginia newspaper, Florida man.
Well,
they would know about the Florida man.
Just say Virginia native, not a Florida man. Just
no, they would have to use the Florida man.
I'm sure I'd get thrown under the bus, but just like. And you're in people's pictures, and you're hiking off trail.
It's funny, and it amazes me how many. I mean, and I guess I say this just because of how much we basically abide by the ethics of hiking and camping. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of people, it's like, I don't know. I mean, like with throwing your trash down and stuff like that, and marking up everything, and it's just, I get aggravated sometimes with all that stuff, because a lot of that stuff you would think is common sense, but again, we know how common sense really is.
That's very true. This was also like at the tail end of our trip, so
I've
kind of been done with like stupid people.
Sure.
So I was just like, I know there's not any grizzlies in Shenandoah, but man, God, if you could just send one to like eat this family, it would bring joy to my heart.
Oh God, we're all taking the trip south.
We also did the bear fence rock scramble, which was really, really cool. One of the things that it's kind of built over the last few years, but was just my personal physical ability. And the last time we were in Shenandoah, and the last time that my family did this particular hike, I didn't go on. I wasn't going to do a rock scramble. That's a negative, Ghost Rider. I respect gravity, and my fat butt's not climbing up some rocks. But I was able to do it, and do it relatively easily. And so
sometimes the rock scrambles are fun, though. It's like it's like a jungle gym when you were a kid or something. I mean,
I guess
it's just not as easy anymore. The older you get, it's
kind of high, and
when the older you get, it becomes harder, but it's still fun, I think. God, I still try and climb trees. I'm 50 freaking years old and still trying to climb trees.
I'm not climbing trees. Straight up. I'm just
49, but yeah.
Maybe I have like too many poor memories of trying to climb trees as a young fat kid.
Oh God, I don't know how many times I fell out of a tree, got smacked by every branch on the way down, knocked the breath out of me as soon as I hit the ground on my back and everything. But
I have a very low pain tolerance, I guess.
If I see a good climbing tree, you can bet that I'm going to go up that thing.
All right, I can't wait till I find a good climbing tree, because I would have recorded.
I will go as high as I possibly can.
Is that the first branch and just like stay there?
It might be, but
you'll be like that raccoon that tipped over my drink when we were camping at Alexander. And he tried to climb the tree for 20 minutes. That might be the extent of my climbing experience.
No, I'll go up. I'll get as close to the top as I can. You might have to call the fire department to come get me down, but I can go up.
You totally get a new trail name after that.
To what? You don't know that Skunkape don't live in the trees?
I mean, I might have to call you Firehouse Kitty.
That would be a real awesome name. What's your trail name? Firehouse Kitty. Yeah, no, man. We're not going there. But don't even get that one started. I'm gonna edit that out because
But no, we always like Shenandoah. We drove the Parkway going through there, and it's just where my heart calls home. Like, really, and that was the thing. Like, when we were still even in Vermont and New Hampshire, those were two states that I had never been to.
Yeah. But
even looking at the mountains and the mountain ranges that, we're going through there, different sections of the Appalachian Mountains.
Right.
Gosh, it was just something about that just felt like home. Like, it was so familiar to me, even though I had never been there before.
That's what I tell everybody, as with the draw that I have to the Appalachians and stuff. It's you can't. People ask me all the time, and I can't describe it. I really can't describe the feeling. The closest I can come to describing the feeling is a sense of homesickness of being away from up there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So does that pretty much finish your vacation trip?
That pretty much finishes up the stops. A couple of different things that I kind of also wanted to talk about. So I discovered two really, really awesome food combinations that this summer that we're going to have to try next time we go camping together.
Ramen, peanut butter, and jelly.
No. Okay,
that's good.
One of the main things that we have on our camping repertoire is smash burgers, because they're crazy easy to do on a Blackstone. Well, I'm the only one that eats Oklahoma onion burgers because I will die on this hill. An Oklahoma onion burger is the best smash burger out there, hands down.
Don't know what it is. Sounds good. Have to try it.
Oh, you've never had one?
No.
Oh my. Oh, all right. We're gonna make that happen. Anyway,
I don't think I have.
So you just like take an onion and you slice it as thin as you can, and you just make this big mound of onion, and you put your hamburger ball on your flat top. Then you put this mound of onion on at the top. You just smash the bejesus out of it, right? And it cooks down into it. So you get the caramelization, your crust on the bottom of your burger. And then when you flip it over, it cooks the onions, and those onion steams into your burger and also caramelizes the onion. It's amazing. But my family doesn't like onions. So
Deanna don't like onions.
So I'm the only one that eats these onions. So an Oklahoma onion burger is not a new thing. However, this next thing is. One other thing that my family will eat, kind of sort of, some more so than others, is corned beef hash.
Oh, I love corned beef hash.
So corned beef hash is also kind of like scrapple. It's something that
it's not even close to scrapple.
Right, if you don't cook it right, it ends up not being so good. Like you got to cook it.
I don't even have to cook corned beef hash. I just buy it in the can and sit there and eat it out of the can.
And you, sir, are the reason we can't have nice things.
No. Look, it still tastes better than your crapple.
No. No. Yeah.
Yeah. See, no. Even your iPad. I mean, your iPad knows. It's giving your iPad just gave the thumbs down to scrapple.
No, it was talking about you eating corned beef hash out of a can. Who hurt you, Paul?
Nobody. I do like it better cooked, but I can't eat it out of the can.
I'm not going to eat raw scrapple, though.
Well, I don't know that anybody could. I mean, you'd have to find that in the front yard and scoop it up, wouldn't you?
But anyway, so what I had done, I had a bunch of onions left over. And so I had this great idea that I was going to take corned beef hash and cook it like an Oklahoma onion burger.
Okay.
So I took my...
So you made a smash burger out of the corned beef hash?
Yes. So I did a smash burger, put the onions on top, smashed the cheese out, cooked the bottom like super, super crispy, flipped it over, threw some cheese on it, and those onions caramelized and made to the onion. Oh my gosh. It was so good.
We'll have to try because I like both. I like corned beef hash and I like onions.
It was so good. I can't believe you haven't had Oklahoma onion burger.
I don't know that I have. I mean, I've had Travis's smash burgers. I don't know if they're the same.
No. I don't think Travis has done Oklahoma onion burgers.
Okay.
That all right. Remind me. We will forego our traditional fajitas, and we will do Oklahoma onion burgers next time we go out.
We can do both.
I mean, we could. Now, the second combination you might not be as excited about as I was. Okay, so bear with me. That I've discovered one of my new favorite like lunch foods. Maybe I don't know if I'd take it hiking, but definitely just like camping. So Pringles chips. Like you can get the like little containers that have like 12 of the chips in. All right, so those are good. Topped with canned smoked oysters.
That is freaking disgusting.
It's a combination that just works.
No.
It just it really does. It was good. I'm not a huge oyster fan. Like I will eat them and I can enjoy them, but I'm not a huge fan of them. But just that combination was just really good. Just like take your Pringle, take your little smoked oyster on top, and just it was good.
No. Next, you're gonna be opening up the Pringle can and just throwing you some crapple and some oysters in there and mixing it up and spooning that crap out, aren't you?
I mean, I can imagine like a thin piece of scrapple with like a Pringles and then an oyster on top. I mean, that'd be a kind of a weird combination, but ironically, it may work. I'm telling you, Paul, the oyster.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna keep that name and description in my head because this is, a family podcast.
Oh, it was really
no. That's gross.
All right, so I might have the Pringles and oysters, but we will definitely.
Yeah, you can have the Pringles and oysters and smash burgers, and I'll have the smash burgers and fajitas.
That works. You mean the corned beef hash?
Yeah, The smash burger.
We can call it the hash smash.
The hash smash.
The hash smash. I love it. That's what I'm pointing at.
Smash.
The hash smash.
The onion hash smash.
That with a lisp.
Onion hash smash.
Onion hash smash. Yeah, I can't do it.
Say it with a southern drawl.
Can I have some hash smash? Can I have some of that southern hash smash?
Oh my God, it's getting late, AJ.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
One of the other things that I did, and I was talking about a little on my NOS episode, was even though I took a lot of gear, I tried to stick with one particular setup. And I kind of want to talk about one piece of gear that I used a lot more than I thought I would, and really have some really great things to say about it. So I took a lot of hammocks and a lot of tarps just because, you never know when somebody else might want to hang. But the hammock that I used this entire trip was my quilted chameleon. Now, I did take that with me to Denmark and used it while we were in Denmark, but I really, really wanted to give a more extended trial to really put it through its paces. So the quilted chameleon is essentially the hammock that I slept in the entire summer.
Okay.
I have a 40-degree, and even one night it got past, or it was right at 40 degrees in the early part of our trip, but I stayed warm the entire time.
It's a 40-degree quilt too.
Yes.
Okay.
And so for my setup, I had a 11-foot War Bonnet Superfly. I had my quilted chameleon, and I had my 40-degree hammock gear quilt.
Okay.
So I love the Superfly. It was the first my first real tarp that I ever bought. And I think now I own 3 or 4 of them. They're all 11 foot. They're great tarps. War Bonnet, it kind of hit a home run, I think, with that tarp. I really enjoyed that, and it kept me dry the entire summer, even though days and days of storms and wind and rain, everything always stayed dry. I've got kind of some mods on the doors that I can close, and it was really nice. So not anything new. I've been using the Superfly in some capacity since the very first days of my hammock adventures. But the quilted chameleon was really nice. The fabric itself is, even though after spending probably now closer to 60 days total, there's still no stretch where the hammock is sewn to the quilt, like some of the other quilted hammocks that I've seen. Still no stretch on those stitchings whatsoever. It was really great being able to set up really quickly. And I have the spreader bar bug net, which is another piece of gear that I didn't know that I needed till I had it. It's really significantly better than just the regular bug net. It makes so much more room in the hammock with that spreader bar in the middle. It really kind of puts everything out, and it's out of your face. It's not, sagging, getting close to your face. It really opens up the hammock. It's really nice. And when you unzip it, it just automatically lifts it up like a nice, convenient garage door.
Keeps it out of your face.
Keeps it out of my face. And in coordination with the quilts and the hammock setup being easy, I picked up one of the anacondas designed by Trailheads and sold by Dutch. And it was a kind of partnership between Trailheads, Dutch, and Pickle. I bought one of those. Really,
I've been thinking about getting one. So now that you have one, I can get your opinion on them.
I really like it. It's now.
Does it pack down? Does it pack down good for like a backpack and stuff? Whenever you have everything in?
Yeah. So I was able to, for my second trip that I took after we got back, I was able to pack everything in to, even though I took a carry-on and a personal item, I could have gotten, if I didn't take a stand, I could have gotten everything in just my carry-on.
This was what we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, right?
Yes.
Your secondary trip.
My secondary trip. So I could have easily fit into my Osprey Fairpoint 40, which, as far as traveling goes, is a great backpack. It's really great for numerous reasons. But I was able to put, if I didn't have a stand, my clothes, hammock, both quilts, if I took the quilted chameleon, and my tarp easily with room to spare in that backpack.
Okay.
So I would say
inside. So you kept your hammock and top quilt, and I will say under quilt, even though it's attached, and everything inside the
basically
anaconda. Inside the anaconda, right?
Inside the anaconda.
Okay. So all that packed down, and whenever it went into your backpack, you still had room for your tarp, and you would have had room for like a mess kit and stuff like that. Your normal stuff for backpacking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I know that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting one,
they're kind of pricey for like I know the engineering goes to they're pricey for a stuff sack.
Sure,
but it made setup so much easier.
See, the main thing I was just always worried about, because you can't really tell from videos and stuff, because whenever all the videos that I've ever seen, it's showing just the Anaconda. It's not showing it in a pack or coming out of a pack with everything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was my biggest concern and question. Like, if I get one and I put everything in that, am I going to put that in my backpack and not have room for anything else?
Right. No, I can get it packed down and compressed really, really small.
Okay.
It was another thing that I really, really liked a lot more than I thought I would.
Did you order from Trailheads or from Dutch?
I ordered from Dutch.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I had some other things that I needed to order from Dutch as well. So I was like, maybe I'll give that a try. And so I ordered one and used it throughout the entire summer. And I can say that I'm glad I ordered it. It's a really great piece of gear.
Okay. So you got me sold.
Corruption. Yeah. No, I was very happy with that piece of gear as well as the hammock. As far as the whole setup, it was really, really great. And, I've talked about the stand and stuff. I can't speak more highly enough of the stands from Yobo. For the most part, I brought my Hive and my Cricket, and mostly I use my Cricket with the exception of everywhere but one place. And it's just a great piece of gear. It really, really is. It was able to fit my needs for the entire summer. And I was also able to take the Cricket in my carry-on to my second trip as well. And really, it packs down really, really small. And I can't wait till the turtle bug comes out as well, which it looks like just got the email the other day saying that they are still on track for their Kickstarter release date. So the projected, they're still on task. No major delays.
You're talking about the ship dates and stuff?
On the ship dates, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm actually, because as you know, I'm working out of town for the next 3 or 4 months, something like that. So I'm going to be, staying out of town in an Airbnb for the week and then come home for the weekends. But I've already got my Cricket stand ready and loaded up to go down and sleep in that. Well, set it up anyhow. Do a lot of relaxing in it. I don't know if I'll have it set up just in the room. I know the Airbnb has a heated pool, which I probably won't do a whole lot of swimming, but might take it outside and just chill out outside for a while too and all that. But so that's part of my my travel kit, is my Cricket stand. Quick question with the Anaconda. We're going to go back to that for just a second. I see that they have 2 different sizes. They have a standard and they have a large. Which did you want?
I just went ahead and got the large. I didn't see really any major difference of going for the small one.
It's only $5 difference.
Yeah, but I guess maybe if weight was a super thing for you, you might go for the small one if you go. But I mean, I'll pony up for the extra space, and yeah, with it fully compressed down, it probably is. I can get it about the size of 2 32-ounce Nalgene's.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
let's see. Okay, I'm reading it now. The standard is 16 liters at 4 ounces, and the 20 ounce the large is 20 liters at 5 ounces. So I mean, you're only gaining an ounce, but gaining 4 liters. So okay, that'd be the one I go with too. So now let's get on just real quickly, and then we've already been going for over an hour. So just a little teaser about your after
Second
vacation trip. Yes, the one that I wish that I could have gone on, but work would not allow me to because I was having to finish up a job.
So, let me think. So approximately 4 days after, maybe 3 days after we got back from our 30-day vacation, I got on a plane and I flew out to Ontario, California, which is right outside of LA and in around the San Bernardino National Forest. And I met with a good buddy of mine, Adam, from SoCal Hangers.
We've had him on the podcast.
We've had Adam on the podcast and hung out with him for about a week. Him and his buddy Mike, and we explored California a bit and did some scoping out of some different locations in the Southern California area, just to see what some group campsites might look like, and what
are we talking about? Are we talking about small groups of, no, 10,
we're not talking
15
about small
people?
groups.
Or are we talking about a little larger group?
We're talking anywhere between 100 to 150 people. But
to start off with,
just to test the waters, test the geography, see what kind of possibilities there would be out there for maybe an undisclosed event in the future might look like. So yeah. It was also stupid hot, and my flight at the very last minute to come home had to be canceled and rescheduled to another airline, and it was fine. My return flight coming back, the first leg got delayed, which was going to cause me to miss my connecting flight, and so to make a very unkosher conversation slightly kosher, I canceled the flight. And because the best that they could give me for the next available flight for this particular airline was 5 days later than I needed it to be, and that really wasn't acceptable. But yeah. But I would really like to appreciate.
You could have requested to go to O'Hara Airport.
Yeah, no, that was no. There was no option for this. That poor guy tried to. Well, he assisted in convincing me to cancel, but yeah, it didn't work out. But I essentially flew back almost the same way, but we went to San Diego to fly back and. San Diego to Denver to Tampa, which essentially was the same thing that I was going to do, except I was originally supposed to do Ontario to Denver to Tampa. But it's all fine.
Gotcha.
But I would like to say thanks to Adam and all the things that you did for us out in California. Your hospitality was really, really great. Made some really, really good food. We got some really, really good food. Also, Paul, I hate to break it to you, but while I was out in California, I made a stop.
Where did you make a stop at?
On the PCT.
Did you do a video?
I did.
I haven't seen the video.
So now, I don't know if I posted it yet. I haven't posted it yet, so I need to do that.
So it hasn't happened yet.
It's totally hit a habit. By the time this episode will post, it will totally have happened.
You didn't know, whenever we hike the Foothills Trail, I'm going to push you over.
So now, Paul, I don't know about you, but now I'm officially a triple crown through hiker. Yes. Now I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to complete it all in 1 year, but it's been about a year and about 13 months cumulatively that I've done the AT, the CDT, and now the PCT.
All Weibo style.
All Weibo. I even signed my name to the cardboard piece of paper at the trail thing.
You did?
I put Pheonix, quote unquote, Weibo.
You are an idiot, sir.
I'm going to hiker hell. It's okay.
Yes, you are. You are.
Straight there.
You
Straight
are.
there. But yeah, we don't really have too much information about any said event that may or may not be happening in California. But we will let you in as soon as we know anything. And we're also going to get Adam on the podcast too, because yeah. But thanks, Adam, for everything you did. That was really a great trip, and I couldn't ask for a better host that you had. So Adam does some hang a year out there in SoCal, and hopefully we can kind of build that up for him. So he might have to afford more than one hang. He's a really cool guy. Check out SoCal Hangers on Facebook. They have a really great little logo that I've got some stickers of, and yeah, we're gonna get out there and kind of try to make some of those hangs maybe next year. Hopefully, I'd like to. If I didn't have to work, that would be so much easier. But alas, but yeah, we got a lot of things coming down the pike, and so stay tuned, and you'll be kind of the first to know. But other than that, that kind of wraps up my summer 2024 trips, both out on the East Coast as well as the jaunt on the West Coast. So my cricket stand has seen from sea to shining sea this summer. So yeah. Now I've been able to check off a lot of states on my have never been to list. So yeah, cool. It's been a good summer, Paul. It's been a good summer, and spent the entire summer in my hammock. It's been pretty awesome.
Well, hopefully in November we conclude our plannings of the foothills.
I hope so. I hope so. Don't know what that's going to look like yet, but yeah,
we'll figure it out. It's
going to be awesome whenever we end up doing it.
yeah, we'll figure it out. So, all right. Well, then I guess since that's it, is there anything else you got before we go, or no, or?
No, we've got some really great episodes coming up, some really great guests coming up as well. A few vendors, a few other special guests, and we're going to get revved up and ready for HangCon right around the corner. So stay tuned, and you'll be in the first to know and to get all the new information on HangCon 2025, as well as our vendors and presenters, and all the fun things that we have going forward with not only just HangCon, but HangCon Europe, and maybe some other things we've got rolling up our sleeve as well. So stay tuned.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Well, that will conclude it until our next episode. Everybody take care, and until then, happy hanging. As we gently sway out of another hammock-filled episode, we want to thank you, our wonderful listeners, for hanging out with us on the Hammock Hangers podcast. We hope that you have found relaxation, inspiration, and a renewed sense of connection to nature through our discussions. Remember to keep that hammock spirit alive in your daily life, whether it's by taking a few moments to unwind in your own backyard oasis, or by planning your next hammock adventure in the great outdoors. Embracing the tranquility, embracing the simplicity, and never forget the joy that comes from simply hanging around. Before we part ways, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all things hammock related. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for the Hammock Hangers Podcast. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to hang with you again on our next episode. Until then, stay relaxed, stay adventurous, and keep on hanging those hammocks high. From all of us here at the Hammock Hangers Podcast, we wish you peaceful hangs and endless relaxation. Thank you for tuning in. Happy hanging, everyone.